I feel alone every time এনেকৈ লাগে ওচৰত মানে ধৰক মানে কিবা এটা নকয় মানে ধৰক সামনাত মানে মানে আগতে কোনো এনেকৈ নকয় কিন্তু পিছফালেদি বহুত কিছু কয়
The mind, the rational mind, the mind that separates human beings from other beings. The human mind that takes one from rags to riches, or the other way around. It ignites flourishing thoughts, yet sometimes it remains vacant or utterly confused. A balanced mind is bliss, an imbalanced mind is storm. A common man calls this storm madness.
To equate every mental illness as a madness is a wrong concept, a wrong approach. In the brain, where these nerve connections are there, we have very important chemicals secreted, which we call neurochemicals and neurotransmitters. Whenever these mental functions get distorted, disturbed, whenever there is deficiencies in these neurochemicals or neurotransmitters, then our behavior also gets disturbed.
Mental illnesses are gradually assuming alarming proportions. At present, over 440 million people across the globe suffer from either major or minor psychiatric disorders. By 2020, major depression will top the list of health problems.
If you calculate all the population in the society who are suffering from different infectious disease together, mental illnesses numbers are higher than this.
The major mentally ill form an extent of 1% of the population, and the minor disorders amount to around 10 to 20%, that is including the minor psychological problems.
Mental illness is very different from physical ailments. It requires reading the patient's mind.
কমলপুৰত নহয় আচ্ছা নাম কি আপোনাৰ কক ফুলমণি আপোনাৰ লগত দুজন মানুহ আহিছে তেখেতসকল কোন হয় এখেত কোন আপোনাৰ কাষত যে থিয় হৈ আছে আপোনাৰ কি হয় নাতিয়েক হয় আপোনাক ডাক্তৰৰ ওচৰলৈ আনিছে আপোনাৰ ল'ৰা আৰু নাতিয়েকে নহয় জানো মই ডাক্তৰ হয় আপোনাৰ কি অসুবিধা হৈছে বাৰু কি অসুবিধাৰ কাৰণে আপোনাক আনিছে কওকচোন
In some cases of mental disorders, the persons are not aware that he or she is sick. So when the person is not aware, then the person might refuse to take any treatment. There's nothing wrong with me. And that is when the things might get a little bit more difficult. Initially, persons may be reluctant to talk. But when I talk to him alone or somebody whom he trusts, he starts coming out. He starts talking about his problems.
Wisdom of the ages says, all men are equal. But when it comes to reality, this wisdom seems to disappear. A mentally ill person is alone in a crowd, as no one stands by him.
মই ভালে আছোঁ অ'কে আছোঁ এতিয়া মোক মানে ধৰক কি হয় মানে মানুহবিলাক মানে মানে কথা ক'লে নহয় কথা ক'লে মোক মানে এটা মানে বেলেগ বেলেগ ভাৱ আহি থাকে মোক লাগে কি এতিয়া মই বেয়া মানে এতিয়া মোৰ দিমাগ বেয়া আছে নেকি মানে মই মানে বহুত মানে মানে কিবা কিবি শুনো মানে মই মানে বহুত মানুহৰ পৰা কিবা কিবি শুনো কি মানুহে মোক এনেকৈ এনেকৈ কৈছে তো এতিয়ালৈ পাগল আছে এতিয়ালৈ তই মানে মানে ঔষধটো খাই আছে জয়ন্ত দাসৰ ঔষধ এনেকৈ এনেকৈ মোক কয় তেতিয়া মই এইবিলাক কথা শুনি মই আৰু মানে ফেড হৈ গৈছোঁ
People consider individuals with mental illness as unpredictable, dangerous and antisocial.
देखो बेटी कौन है
Negative portrayal by the mass media of the mentally ill as psychotic, violent, dangerous, or out of control also subscribes to this mindset.
गोल गोल पानी गिट्टा गिट्टा पानी
Mental illness has always carried a stigma, as if it were contagious. The mentally ill over the centuries have been shunned, locked away, and mistreated.
Mentally ill people are a menace to the society. They seem to disturb the society sometimes. So I think they should be shunned from the society.
I would say the society just have time for saying "oh" on the road, not more than that.
এই পাগল মানুহটো কাম দি কেনে কি লাভ ইয়াৰ সমাজত থাকা না থাকে একে
পাগল মানুহ এটাক আমি সমাজত রাখিব নোৱাৰি এনে পাগল মানুহ এটা
পাগল মানুষের কথা আর কি বলবো পাগলরা তো পাগলই শুধু এখানে নষ্ট করছে সেখানে নষ্ট করছে পাগলদের কথা আর বলে লাভ নেই পাগলরা সমাজের জন্য একটা বোঝ
Traditionally, the general public has displayed an indifference towards the mentally ill due to ignorance and prevalent social taboos. Explaining mental illness in the same terms as any other illness has unfortunately not diminished the stigma surrounding it. There is stigma attached to a visit to psychiatrist, even among the elite. Even the educated people often take the mentally ill rather to a religious place than to psychiatric hospitals.
Most people, instead of going to a psychiatrist or going to a proper scientific therapeutic platform, they initially take what we call ghorua chikitsa. By the time they realize that no, now enough is enough, the so-and-so is not improving, and somebody finally tells them, okay, why not try a medical model, it becomes really late in most of the cases.
Having someone in the family with mental illness is considered to be embarrassing. The society at times forces families with mental patients to severe relations with the sufferer. And in case the mentally ill person is a female, she often falls prey to the lustful desires of men.
In the case of females, we have had often reports of them being sexually exploited. There is a lot of stigma associated even regarding the care. Patients are tied up, violence is there, and tied up, denied the basic freedom, kept in a room, locked up in a room, given food separately. I can tell you of one person who is living in a family, living in a flat, but the person is not allowed to see TV along with the family. The person is not allowed to eat with the family.
Change of public outlook is essential for the treatment of people suffering from mental illnesses. Fortunately, this change is beginning to arrive to keep the mental patients a better tomorrow.
The society has got a definite negative attitude, but I would also like to add that things are changing in a positive direction.
The mental patients are not aliens. They are part of our world. If we call ourselves sane, why not prove it by being rational? Will my days be passed in seclusion, in the midst of wild passion? Will no one listen to my need? Will no one see if I will ever be freed? Enveloped by darkness on all sides, will I know nothing of time and tide? left in the cells to rot forever. This very thought brings me to shiver. Will I never see the sun rise again? Will happiness from me always refrain? Will I never hear the birds chirp or dream of angels playing the harp? Oh, destiny, is this to be my fate, never to encounter love and hate? Is my willpower to fail me, suppressed by what is called destiny? Am I so weak that I shall be overpowered and be let down like a mere coward? No, I am never to stoop, for I am inspired by hope.